So I do see Ray Higdon and Jessica. Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, what's going on? I'm all zen now.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, we started with we always start with the meditation. Jeanette Ortega in LA, and then Amy's in Phoenix or Scottsdale, and she is a world-class breathing expert who runs 100-mile marathons without pain, runs back-to-back marathons, runs
Wow.
incredible. But she has kept so many people out of surgery, including Robert Kiyosaki. Just amazing person. But hey, welcome guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Kyle, please connect me. I'd like to connect with Amy. Like, however you want to make that. I know she's right there. I want to connect with you right there.
And actually, I just had her on my podcast. So this is how much I think about Amy. She was right after Brian Tracy, Les Brown, Denis Waitley, and then Amy, because I just think she is world-class at what she does and the most generous person in the world.
Awesome.
That's her thing. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm such a fan, even though I met you guys through Larry Thompson. And of course, you have some major fans on here, Sean Murphy, Jennifer Moran, multiple others.
Hey.
And so I'm always hearing the story, but I love watching you on social media. So let me just tell everyone a little bit about you very quickly, and we'll just jump in.
Awesome.
Okay.
So Ray and Jessica Higdon, they are the founders of Rank Makers and have helped network marketers enroll over 26,000 people. These numbers are crazy. Recruit over 28. So enroll 126,000, recruit over 28,000, have advanced rank 5,700 spots, which is over the top. They really have a rags to riches in a way story, right? You relatively, in a short amount of time, went from some dire straits to Inc. 5,000 company. You do things very much principle based. You're the definition of consistent. And I just love watching what you guys do. And on top of that, you have a family, a young family, kids. And yet you're doing it all. You're doing business, you're doing health and fitness and encouragement. And you're actually speaking out in the middle of all this stuff going on too, with just your opinions and thoughts. So you're very bold. So thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, I'm honored to be here for sure.
Oh, and I left out all the books you've written and all the cool stuff you do. But yeah, we'll just jump in. So what was the beginning? Like, how did you guys get involved in network marketing that led to starting Rank Makers?
Yeah, so I had been in real estate and, from 2004 and then kind of involuntarily out of it, 2008, and I got wiped out. So I went from a high-paying corporate job to going into real estate, doing really well there, moved hundreds of houses as an investor, had a lot of rental properties, and we went, do you want to talk?
No, I mean, hey guys.
We have a little baby, so you're probably going to hear.
Oh, you're happy.
He's
excited. Yeah. Like totally you mentioned, we're doing this with a young family, so I don't know. It's just white noise to me. So hopefully, you guys, it's not too distracting.
Yeah, not at all.
But you'll probably hear Graham. He's basically the modern version of Bam Bam. He grabs things and just smacks them on the floor forever. Yeah, he's awesome. But went into real estate, had some success there. I can tell you the number one mistake I made in that career was I just didn't surround myself with enough mentors. I didn't invest in my education. I actually prided myself on how much of a self-starter I was and how much I got done without having gone through all the coaches and the mentors and that kind of stuff. And that really, flared its ugliness when the market crashed. I got wiped out. And what I mean by that, because there's different levels of being wiped out. I wiped out my IRA and my 401k that I'd had since I was 18 years old. I sold my furniture, still went into foreclosure, went through a divorce. At one point was sleeping on my buddy's couch. So that level of loss, which is, looking back, it was a great lesson. It made me really, really appreciate money. We had started dating as all of this was falling apart, as all of me was falling apart. and she was actually working at the makeup counter paying my utility bills. And so, you know, guys, if you're single, just get you a sugar mama. I don't know what the problem is there, but you know, she really supported me when I wasn't financially there nor mentally there. I mean, I was really, really depressed, drinking a lot, trying to mask my pain, trying to get my thoughts, trying to go anywhere but the reality of where I was. And back then, and there's, you know, some, I think, similarities, but back then, everyone I knew was wiped out. Everyone I knew for years had been involved in some way, shape, or form in real estate here in the state of Florida, and they were also wiped out. No one was hiring. My credit was shot. I had 2 credit cards left that hadn't figured out I'm not paying them. And a buddy invited me to check out his network marketing opportunity. And I had actually sworn off network marketing. I did not want to do it because I'm a marketer, and I did things a little differently than how most people were doing it, especially back then. And I'd sworn off it because I just had, you know, too many issues with uplines and just problems. But what were my choices? And so I decided that I'm going to make this thing work. And long story short, became the #1 income earner in that company. A few months into building that company, she decided to join and start working. She built her own very, very successful business separately because we weren't married at the time. And we were doing social media recruiting and duplication before hardly anybody was, because this, you're talking 2009, 2010. A lot of traditional trainers bashed us and said, you can't do that on social media. Now it's pretty widely accepted that you can. But back then, you have to, right? With the quarantine and everything. You know, we started getting requests from other companies, from other teams, from other leaders, and we didn't intend to build a coaching and training business, but we did. Back 4.5 years ago, we decided to focus solely on the coaching and training. It's really, you know, we just felt we could make a bigger difference that way and really loved it. So we retired from actively building a team and just now focus on coaching and training. We launched Rank Makers 3 years ago now, this month actually. And yeah, since launching that, that's where I go live every day. I give an action step and a training. And we've helped network marketers bring in 166, the updated stats are 166,000 new customers, 36,000 new reps, and achieve 7,600 rank advancements. And so we love production. We love helping the network marketing space and other, you know, we work with other spaces as well. But that's kind of my story. And hopefully I didn't talk too long here.
No, I mean, our stories intertwine for sure. And I'll just add to that briefly. With my personal story, because I could probably relate to some of you in a different way. But when I first started building, I was very young. I was going to school full time. I was working full time at the makeup counter. I was trying to do a wedding business on the side, doing makeup and things like that. So about 90 hours a week of my time was already committed to other things. And see, I thought that's what being busy was. And then I had kids. And now I really know what being busy is.
That was a cakewalk.
Yeah, business is a cakewalk compared to being a mom. No joke, or a dad. But we, so anyway, I started building my business, doing all the traditional things, you know, warm market and all the ways that you should start. And it wasn't working out for me. A lot of my friends were young. They would just, you know, were kind of throwing their future into the wind and seeing what would happen. I went to their parents to see if they would join, and they just kind of told me, oh, Jess, you're so cute. You're awesome. And it was really a blow to my confidence. I'm like, I'm trying to be a business person here, and these people are telling me how cute I am. Like, it wasn't a good situation. So I found out that some people were making money in other things utilizing this thing called Facebook. And back then, you know, it was a known platform, but it wasn't nearly what it is today. And so I just decided to go on there and start connecting with more people. And long story short, so the first 6 months of joining the business, didn't recruit a single person. Within 12 months, I had my first $10,000 month of transitioning my strategy to social media. And then from there became the #1 female income earner of that company at 23. And it was really mainly through reaching out to people on social media and connecting with them and getting them on the phone or to some other platform that I could communicate with them on and getting them into the business. And that still, is very valid today, still works today. And I personally, and of course Ray as well, have been training on that ever since. And I believe the reason that people flock to our training, if I do say so myself, is that we've done it from the bottom up. And so we understand how simple it really can be to build a business and start from that place. Because neither of us came online with a following. Neither of us came online with some kind of offline presence or offline team or anything like that. In fact, it was the exact opposite. So it's kind of learning how to build that up from the bottom up.
Love it. You guys said so much. I mean, there's so much direction I could go there, and I love it all. But I want to remind everyone on the call to take a picture of you watching Ray and Jessica now and go post on Facebook that you're hashtag Ray Higdon, Jessica Higdon, Rank Makers. If you're not following them on Instagram, I guess it's your names, right? Ray Higdon, Jessica Higdon. And post on Facebook, post on Instagram, do the stories, and just say you're watching them. As you get ideas, post those. And we're going to do a drawing later where you're giving away 2 signed books of the, okay, there you go. Freakishly Effective Leadership for Network Marketers. So do some posts. Is there any other hashtags or things you'd recommend? You're easy to find on Instagram. Right?
Yeah. Higdon Group, Higdon Group, Rank Makers. Yeah, sure.
And make sure and follow them if you're not, because they post daily. It's incredible. And just piggybacking on Facebook, I sold all my companies in 2007. I retired and I'd built a 1 million+ list. I was one of the early guys to do it. When I came back out in 2013, 14, I said, really, honestly, the fastest, best way is social media. Now you have to get them off social media onto an email list, right? But I did not, I'm sure we're all in the same boat. We didn't want to get on social media to say, hey, look at me. And, we're just living out loud to the world. It was a business decision. And I always ask the question, if someone says, listen, I don't really want to do social media, I always say, how much influence do you want to have? That's the only thing you got to answer. And if the more influence you want to have, the more you're going to have to put yourself out there. And yes, you will be judged. That's part of life. But there's some people that are going to judge you. And then other people are going to say, you changed my life. And that's who you're doing it for. And so you encourage new people in network marketing to take advantage of this platform where you can go direct to consumer, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn. You don't have to go through the middleman. And it's so powerful, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I would give, because I do hear that a lot too, of people saying, well, no one cares what I had for breakfast. And you're right, they don't.
Exactly.
But I'll give you 2 concepts that have helped a lot of our students. Number one is a quote from a gentleman named Jason Fried. He launched Basecamp, a very, technical, known software guy. And he says, out-teach your competition. That's very, very powerful. Of just educate more than you think you should, or educate more than what you see anyone else doing in your space. I took that and ran with it. As of this month, July 15th, I've done at least 1 video a day, every day for 11 years. And because I'm a lunatic, I'm a psycho, but I really took that to heart. Out-teach your competition. Now, the question for most, new people to social media or new people in general is, well, what do I teach? And so we came up with a concept called ILT, invest, learn, teach. So you invest your time, possibly money, to learn something, then you teach from it. So if I was going into a business where I didn't know much, so let's say I'm going into skincare, right? And what I would do is I would say, okay, who am I trying to attract to me and what do they struggle with? And so I would then invest some time, go over to Google, look up some skincare tips and anti-aging tips and, things of that nature, come up with some information and I would learn it, then go teach it. So I might run a Facebook Live that says, 9 skincare tips to help you look 20 years younger, right? Share those tips and then tell them, if you want the sources of my articles, reach out to me and I'm more than happy to share them with you. Well, what I'm actually doing is getting you to reach out to me so we can have a conversation and I can actually see if you're open to a product or a supplement. And so that's what I would do, is I would ILT whatever you are, whatever the problem or desire of the person you're trying to attract to you is. So you don't have to be certified. You don't have to have a degree. I don't. You don't have to be a super expert. You just need to be able to look up stuff. And so you can look up anything in the world and not, pirate it or plagiarize it. Just say, hey guys, I was on the Googles and I found this great article and I want to share some tips from this article that may help you if you're struggling with weight loss, nighttime sugar cravings, how to get rid of love handles, whatever, fill in the blank, how to, breathe easier, whatever. And so that's the approach and concept we've shared with brand new people, brand new marketers, to allow them to get off the ground and stop making it about them. I don't start it with saying, hello, best-selling author and Inc. 5000 guy here, because people don't really care. They care what's in it for me. What's in it for them? How am I going to help them? And so if you focus more on them, then you'll attract more and more people.
And just from the prospecting side, I can totally relate to that, because when I first started, I hated social media. I really did. I really did think it was a place that people posted where they ate their sandwich. And to be honest, I still try and stay off of it quite a bit. It can be very time sucking. And so I was just listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about how you need to focus on what is your intention for social media before you open that app, because otherwise you are going to be sucked down the rabbit hole of things that don't matter towards your business and don't matter towards your happiness or connecting with your kids or whatever. And it's going to just be a complete waste of time. But if you use it in the right way, it's such an amazing tool for you. And frankly, nowadays, you really don't have a choice. If you really, just like Kyle said, if you want to have that influence, you really don't have a choice. And that doesn't mean that you need to come out and do, a video a day for 11 years from the get-go, but you do need to start connecting with people every day. And to me, it's just a lot easier. It's a lot simpler than, standing in a Walmart and handing out flyers or trying to talk to people belly to belly, which, hey,
especially nowadays.
Yeah. If you can do that wearing a mask and social distancing, then go for it. But right now you really don't have a choice. So embrace it and just go on the platform that is easiest and the lowest hanging fruit to you right now, and develop those habits, and then branch out to other things.
And again, you guys enthuse authenticity, being real. And that's the key with social media, is just got to be yourself and be social. You don't have to follow what someone else does. Do it what works for you, right? And, I always talked about the wheel. You get people on the wheel, you bring value, and over time, occasionally you ask people to raise their hand for something. And so a lot of people are trying to get a result too quickly instead of just building relationships, putting themselves out there. I loved what you were talking about. Just take a topic, go research it. Sep Beckham in our group, he's a real estate investor and syndicator in California. He talks about being the utility, just being valuable, not having an agenda, but over time, occasionally you put out what you have and people have interest. A lot of people would say, hey, I can't go post, it's easy for you, Kyle. You were Jim's 18-year business partner. I'm like, you can do the same thing. You can take a quote of Jim Rohn, put it out there on social media and say, this guy changed my life. I went from broke to now I have a 5-figure a month income because of the principles he taught. And the Jim Rohn fans will still like that. They'll still, potentially share the meme. It's just about connecting the dots, really.
Yeah, I'll share an analogy we use, because I bet a lot of people on here are like us and go to seminars, go to events, or now virtual, right? But you probably have a lot of notes. And so, I don't know how many, of these notepads we have just everywhere, all around. Well, to me, your notes are uncashed checks unless you convert them to online content. And so we start teaching that, so many years ago, 9-10 years ago. So what I will do, if I get coaching, some of my mentors are, Russell Brunson, I was just on the phone with Grant Cardone. We were just on the phone with Grant Monday. And so I take notes, and then I'll go live and say, hey guys, just sharing my notes from my talk with Grant. And, I did this on Instagram a couple days ago, and, had a whole bunch of people on there. And, that is, it's uncashed checks. It's go and fulfill the ILT. Imagine if you went and said, here's 4 tips I learned from Jim Rohn, and you go and do it. Do your 4 tips. People like it. Jim Rohn fans will tune in. And then you said, hey, by the way, if you want a photocopy of my full notes from the seminar I had with him years ago, I'm more than happy to send to you. Send me a message.
Right.
So you're getting them to take action and reach out to you so you can have a conversation, have a better connection, and you're giving them some value. And we define value as, does someone walk away with benefit whether they purchase or not? It's a very distinct thing. And so, yeah, I love what you're saying.
Yeah, I love what you're saying as well. And it's like, if someone never buys from you, but they like your post, they comment on your post, that's part of the value proposition as well. As long as you're bringing value, not everyone has to buy. But again, it takes it all to make it work. It takes those 100 people to like a post to, again, that builds up the algorithms. And then out of that, maybe 5 end up buying. And out of those 5, 1 becomes an advocate that then brings in another 10, 20 people. But again, a lot of people become too focused on trying to get an immediate result. I know you guys teach principle-based recruiting and principle-based marketing, which is so powerful.
Well, I would say too, to look at it as you're just taking a bunch of cold market and turning them into warm. And so if you can just think about the interwebs as all these cold market people out there that are ice cold, right? Your job is not to turn them from ice cold to red hot. Your job is to turn them from ice cold to lukewarm to warm to red hot. That's the transition. So you're just building your network each and every day. You're building your network. You're building your group of friends that are in your circle, that are seeing the things that you're posting, that are seeing what you're doing, that you are reaching out to and having conversations with. And eventually, when you fill that pipeline, it does start to burst. But you have to look at it as a step-by-step process, not just, hey, I'm going to put this out there and 1 million people are going to buy. If you don't have that rapport and following built yet, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it takes time to do that too. And some things are cyclical. Some people are on your radar and they disappear. They've gone through a divorce. They had a death in the family. And so again, we can't be attached. You just have to put it out there. And, those that are ready will say yes. Jim Rohn would talk about the power of testimonials, that when you say, this single mom could do it. We have Heather Self in the group, who was a single mom who on welfare was paralyzed at one time. Now her and her husband are multimillionaires through real estate. Awesome. But she has this 10-year story of, hey, if she could do it, you could do it type thing. How important is that? Not just to tell your story, but to tell other people's stories.
Yeah, it's really powerful because, especially, and I love that you included other stories. Because sometimes people will start something and they're like, well, I haven't done much yet. So how do I attract? Well, use other people's stories. If they use the same system or the same process or concepts or product or service or whatever, then definitely use their stories. Obviously there's, depending on your industry, there's, compliance and things you got to, be aware of. But, and one mistake that I see a lot of leaders, continue to make is, I never wanted to share the exception and that be the only thing. I never wanted to share the, hey, congrats to James who made 10,000 his first month, because to me, all that does is set a disappointment timer. And people will say, oh man, one, high quality people aren't attracted to that. They don't believe it. They're just like, I don't know about that. And others that are attracted to that, they're going to come in and be like, okay, 30 days, dude. And in day 31, they're like, I'm not there, disappointed, I'm out of here, you lied to me. And so you're really setting a disappointment timer. And although they may not know it consciously, they're actually latching to you so they have someone to blame. My favorite stories are slow success stories. You know, one of our clients, Amy Murphy, she had been in network marketing for 17 years, had made a total of $3,000, which, you know, if you know the industry, that means you've lost money. Okay. You haven't made money. You've lost tens of thousands of dollars because you got the hat, the pen, you've been to the convention, you bought the garage, you know, right. And she told me this, she found one of our blogs, started utilizing social media differently. She's now $1 million earner in her company. Now, do you think that she, you know, constantly wakes up and cries about the 17 years of not having success and the pinky swore, you know, she had with her husband that she'd never do it again? No, she doesn't think about those things because she's changed her life. And so slow success stories are fantastic. They're my favorite. Small success stories. Congrats to, you know, my friend Linda, who joined the company and has made an extra $50 this week. Way to go, girl. See, people believe they can do that. They believe, and you'll actually attract more people with smaller success stories or slower success stories than you will the wrong people with the big dog success stories. So that's kind of my take on them.
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, and this was something that we learned from Larry and Taylor also is that most people, they're just looking to make that extra $500 a month, right? So if you're telling people that they're going to make even 10,000 a month or 100,000 a month or $1 million a year, they, like Ray said, they just don't believe it. So focusing on those small success stories should give you a lot more confidence in that you can do it and you can share those things and you don't have to feel inauthentic about it. And it gives your prospect a lot more confidence too. And stories are not just good for posting, but they're great for objection handling. And I actually talked about this on a training last night, but you can pretty much handle any objection that you come across with a great story. So you should become a professional story collector. You should be collecting those stories every chance that you get from your, you know, whether it's from your traditional company and your brick and mortar, collecting those testimonials, or it's your network marketing company and it's a sideline, upline, downline, your own story, but collecting what profession were they in, where were they at, where they started, what happened to them, how did they get to the top, and
what obstacles did they have?
What obstacles did they have? Was it money? Was it time? Was it they had to talk to a spouse? Was it they didn't believe in network marketing, or they didn't believe that they could make money from home in any way, shape, or form? What was their objection? And you pretty much can find a story for any of the main ones. And if you combat an objection with a story, it takes you out of it and it's not as hard. So if somebody says, I don't have the time, you say, oh my gosh, yeah, I totally hear you. My friend Lori didn't have the time either. She was working at the makeup counter. She was doing this, she was doing that. And she decided to herself, you know, how long does she want to do that? And so she found out that she can spend just an hour a day or 30 minutes a day doing this. And now she's at blah, blah, blah. Now she's got an extra $500 a week. She can spend more time with her kids. She never got to see her kids. So having those stories is a very easy, simple, non-aggressive way. And I think for women, that's so key, is that we find a way to be our feminine selves in this industry, but still be firm, still be confident, but not aggressive. And so that, to me, stories are a great way to do that.
So powerful. We're going to open it up for Q&A here in a minute. Raise your hand if you have a question. Sean will call on you. You know, Jim Rohn was, again, everything you're saying, that was his philosophy too. Make it simple. He's like, the powerful story is when you're part-time. He would encourage people, don't go full-time. You know, you're better off, you know, having a full-time job and making your fortune part-time, because it's such a powerful story. He was also such an advocate for the industry, because he's like, the company takes the burden of everything. They create the product. They have to do everything. He's like, he had stories of someone that started with $5, you know, and they would buy the individual, you know, protein shakes and make them and have block parties and, you know, $30 a week and then $100 a week. And that really is, there are those stories and there is that power. And I so agree with you that if you tell the wrong story, you're going to attract the wrong person.
Right.
If you want someone that's going to come and stay and not get recruited by someone else, you know, you want those heart and soul type people that can actually go out and do it over time.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know if everyone on here is network marketing or not.
This is entrepreneurs, business owners.
Okay.
We probably have a handful. And I was going to ask, your rank makers, I'm sure it benefits any entrepreneur, right? Like Jim Rohn's building your network marketing business. I would give that to entrepreneurs all the time because the principles apply.
Yeah. We have a lot of marketing and mindset and wealth mindset that we teach in there that would help. If for those that are network marketers, I would suggest you never say that you're full-time. So when I would meet people, I'd been full-time for years. I'd say, yeah, I'm a full-time dad. I do this on the side. And then they would show up to convention and they're like, you're the number one earner, dude. Like, why didn't you tell me that? And I'd say, because you couldn't say that. So everything is, can they say what you're about to say for those that are doing something that requires duplication?
Very good. So Sean, do we have any questions?
Not
Where's
yet.
Sean? I don't see him.
Hey, how are you, Ray? Hey, Jess.
Oh, there he is.
He's in outer space or something. Where is
He's in outer space.
Hey, listen, for the entrepreneurs that are on here, you went to an Inc. 5000 company. And that's hard to gather when people see, they see the overcoat of network marketing, but you've built a global business, and that's what the entrepreneurs on here are looking for. How did you build this global business from hiding behind the curtains because the guy knocking on your door was trying to take everything you had? So how did you get to this global business? How did you go? The one story I love is where you decided to go into Instagram and you saw where you could track how many views per week you were having. And all of a sudden it went up to 2,000, 5,000, 15,000 because you started to implement a new strategy. What are some of the strategies right now with the change, because you've been big in the COVID, to help people who are entrepreneurial, right? Think of entrepreneurs from real estate. You've got that background. You know, we've got somebody who's got $500 million in holdings, to people who are syndicate folks. What's the strategy some of them can use to take their business to the next level right now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I'll give a couple, and then so I would say what I mentioned earlier: out-teach your competition, and you can use ILT. That's for anyone. If I'm a florist, I'm going to out-teach every florist in the country. I guarantee you. If I'm a plumber, I'm going to have more YouTube videos than any other plumber on the planet. That's just what's going to happen. I'm going to out-teach you, and that's just what's happening, man. And so it's you thinking about, okay, what do my potential customers or existing customers struggle with? What do they desire? What are their problems? I should have videos for every single scenario and keep producing them until I don't, right? Until it's satisfied. In the beginning, when I first started that journey, July 15, 2009, I wasn't getting any views or any leads or any mom was like, you keep going. You can do it, Ray. I believe in you. Thanks, Mom. But no one was seeing my stuff. And so because there were no leads coming in, I had to prospect, which I hated. I hated prospecting, but I did it because I needed to put money on the table, and I was sick of not being able to do anything nice for her. And so the out-teach your competition and the ILT will serve any industry. We get mentored from a Airbnb guy. He's got 4,000 units, and he's helping us to kind of navigate these waters. And we, picked up something yesterday. We had another thing, whatever. But the other point that I'll make here is you always have two businesses, and this is very, very important and right in alignment with what Kyle and what a lot of amazing mentors teach. You have your business, how you make money, however that is, and then your other business is money. How do you make your money make you money? And you have to be working your money. This is not about saving. This is not, how much do I have in the bank? Someone who's pretty intense on this would be Grant. He says that money in the bank or equity in your home is a sign of weakness. You should be putting that to work. And so just know that, take a percentage of everything that you make, put it into, some kind of investments, put something in that it's going to multiply so your life gets easier. And, for me, that I think about.
I just want to interject here off of this point
Yeah.
before you move forward. That by far, and think what you'd like, but this has nothing to do with me saying this because we're coaches and mentors and trainers. If we didn't hire big time coaches to help us, we would not have the business we have today.
No doubt.
Why? Was it because of some magical tip or tool that they gave us? Sometimes, but it was really more so the push to think bigger, do bigger things, and give us that little tweak from somebody who's already been there that can put their hands on your business and say, okay, just do this. And that's why you're on this event today, right? Because you have mentors on here that are saying, just do this. And you see this huge spike in revenue or this huge idea that came to fruition that made you millions upon millions of dollars that you didn't even think to do. And it pushed us to keep moving forward. And so I would say, if you're looking to grow your company as a whole, not necessarily network marketing, but grow your company, that would be my biggest tip, is look for somebody who's done it, whatever your industry is, wherever you want to go, look for somebody who's done it and find the person that is the best in it and hire that person and get yourself out of your comfort zone and do that. Last year alone, I think we spent $250,000 just on coaching and mentorship. Our first coaching and mentorship was a couple $100 for a course. So you got to start somewhere, but it's just, we are such firm believers in that, as I know everybody on here is, and you have to push yourself. And if you don't get mentorship, it's not to say you can't make money. You can. It's just you'll do it a lot slower, and you'll get that exponential growth a lot slower than you would if you had just invested money, which is just a piece of paper, right? If you really have that relationship with money that's going to move you to bigger and better things, you have to look, you can't have that fear around money all the time, which is something that we work on every day, especially me. We work on it every day. It doesn't mean that when you get more money and you grow bigger and you have a bigger business, that fear goes away, because that's almost an identity to money with you. So you have to work on that identity that you have to money and understand that that is a tool for you to grow into the person that you want to become, the lifestyle you want to have. It's just a piece of paper. And when you can exchange that piece of paper for value, that means so much more than hoarding it or, just putting it aside for a rainy day. Not to say that you should spend yourself into the poorhouse and not be able to eat or feed your family or pay the electric. Okay. I have to make that disclaimer, but we are such big believers in that. You have to find mentorship if you want to get there faster.
So powerfully said. And I talk about the transformational aspect of who you're with. I've had coaches that I could have paid someone $50. Like Roger Love is one of the coaches, right? And he's Tony Robbins' voice coach. I was just Phil Collin, the Def Leppard. He said if it wasn't for Roger, they would have never gone back on tour. He totally solved Joe Elliott. And Seth Mosley, who's in our group, was seeing Roger, and I said, I've always had kind of voice problems. He said, Roger's the best, but he's very, very, very expensive. Well, when I went to see him, it was almost like I'm in kindergarten. And what he taught me, I could have paid someone $50, and he's in the thousands per hour. Right. But being around him, just getting to spend an hour with him at his studios and getting to hang with him and seeing John Mayer, and, that's worth it. And I said that about being with Victor Hansen during the chicken soup days. Just, you get around people that have already done it. There's a transformational energy that happens beyond the information, right? Sure. And they've done it. They know where all the obstacles are. You guys have said so many great things. Hey, when you guys are posting on social media about Ray and Jessica, how about your notes is an uncashed check? Yeah. That's incredible.
Here's how to visualize it. Would you ever come home from a trip or vacation or something, you open the mailbox and there's 15, 20 checks in there. Do you make a plan to go to the bank to cash them, or you just throw them in your office in a corner and never do anything with them? Well, that's what most people do. Most people, they just take their notes and they're just like, all right, I'm done with that. I'll revisit it someday. They never do. But that could attract your number one client. Those notes right there might attract your long-term best client you ever had in your entire life. And so by you not sharing that, so it's just part of the routine. If I get a coaching call with someone, if I go to a session, I'm going to go live and I'm going to share those notes in some way, shape, or form.
So powerful. Out-teach your competition. That was another tweetable. So guys, I really want to honor your time. I know we had a hard out at 12:30. And so first of all, I hope everyone's following you on Instagram and on Facebook and LinkedIn. Do you guys do much on LinkedIn?
I think my team does some things on LinkedIn.
Not anymore. I used to, but not
so your books, I think, would benefit anyone, any entrepreneur. I mean, you guys have given so much gold today. How can people get involved in rank makers? How can they get involved in buying your books through Amazon? What's the best ways for people to get more of you guys?
Yeah, and thank you. I appreciate that. We actually didn't, believe it or not, we didn't plan this. We actually was doing this for our group, but today we actually do have a 25% off, like our entire shop, which does contain our 2 books, the 2 main books we have, which is our social media book and our leadership book. I've had certainly network marketers and non-network marketers read both of these, and they did say it helped them. We also have a 90-day journal. We have ring lights, but that's at rankmakershop.com. Rankmakershop.com. But that is 25% off today. But yeah, it was an honor being on here. I answer a lot of questions, like on Twitter even. I tend to be on there personally more than some other places. But yeah, we love what you're doing. We're really honored that you had us.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure of interviewing Kyle for one of my series and trainings around money, and his interview was unbelievable, and just his story and how much value that he truly has. It's interesting because Kyle has so much knowledge that, to me, is just kind of coming out into the world in a big way. And it's exciting to see, because you're one of the few that has the knowledge that you have. I mean, there are very few people who have the background and got to be around the people and bring up and work with the people that you have. Yeah. So I feel like you were the master behind the masters, and now you're becoming the master, or are the master that everybody gets to hear from. So it's really an honor to be on here, because you're just incredible.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to continue to talk about some of the things you shared after you go, because I know you got a hard deadline. So honored. You guys are amazing. We'll put out the links also when I send the follow-up email. Not everyone could make the call today, but we're going to put it in the membership site, and I'll send that out. And everyone on the call, if you know people in network marketing, send out the link. Sean's put it in here. Jennifer's put it in here. We've put it in here to say, I really highly encourage you to give it a try. If they don't know you, to go ahead and just give Rank Makers a try. And again, all I've ever heard is raving reviews.
No.
Appreciate that.
Thank you guys so much.
Even our business coaches learn from you. The Christies, they were in your mastermind.
Oh yeah, right.
They edify you all the time. So we appreciate you having us on. We're honored.
You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Let's give them a big hand, virtual hand. Everyone's, thank you guys.